Sunshines! It's 2018 and there are a whole slew of new LGBTQ plus books on the horizon. Because this video was so well received last year, and since there is an overall lack of LGBTQ plus representation in the booktube community by people who are also queer, I felt like I should make this video again. Without further ado, we should probably jump into the books because there are 13 of them, and we all know me, I talk a lot. First up, we have Let's Talk About Love by Kann. This book's anticipated release is the 23rd of January. Let's Talk About Love is a book about a girl called Alice. Alice is out as bi, but she actually isn't just bi, she's also asexual. Alice just recently lost her girlfriend due to her asexuality, and she doesn't want to go through that again. However, because that's not quite how life or books tend to go, shortly after that she meets Takumi and he begins worming his way into her heart. I'm really excited to read this book because asexuality is something that I have not seen represented in young adult fiction very often, if at all. Maybe they're out there, they probably a few exist, but I just haven't read them. Second book on my list is The Dangerous Art of Blending In. This book is by Angelo Surmelis, and its anticipated release is the 30th of January. This book follows our protagonist, whose name I can't remember because I forgot to write it down, is growing up in a strict Greek Orthodox household. His mother abuses him and his father is conflict averse, so he doesn't get involved. Unbeknownst to the world, our protagonist is gay and in love with his best friend Henry. Henry begins to reciprocate his feelings and he gets a taste of what life could be like if he were out. The Dangerous Art of Blending In is also Own Voices. Book 3 on my list is called All Out, the No Longer Secret Stories of Kick-Ass Queer Teens, and it is by a compilation of authors, but it is compiled and edited by Saundra Mitchell. This book's anticipated release date is the 27th of February. So All Out is a short story compilation, and it has a lot of amazing sounding stories. There's a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood set in 1870s war-torn Mexico with a trans soldier. There's a story about an asexual girl growing up in the 1970s disco scene. And there's a story about forbidden love in a 16th century convent. There are at least 17 authors included in this short story compilation, 2 of which are a couple of my favorite, Mackenzie Lee, who wrote A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and also Albertalli. And I don't know if all of the authors are, but at least a handful of these authors are own voices. I am exceptionally excited about this one. I will definitely be marking my calendar to pick this book up as soon as it's released and read it immediately. Book number 4 is called People by Us, and it is by Dana M. Mele. Its anticipated release date is also the 27th of February, and this one just sounds like fun. I've heard it described as a queer YA Mean Girls. It is set in a boarding school, and our narrator is bisexual. These 4 main girls who we're following are in a clique, and one day they find the body of a dead classmate. So it's this Mean Girls queer mystery boarding school style book, and it just sounds like it's gonna be so much fun to read. Book number 5 is called The Summer of Jordi Perez and the Best Burger in Los Angeles, and it is by Amy Spalding. This book's anticipated release date is the 3rd of April. In this book, we follow Abby, who is a lesbian fashion blogger, as she lands her dream internship. Shortly after beginning her dream internship, she meets and starts to fall for her co-intern, Jordi. Ultimately, both of these girls are in competition for the same job at the end of the summer, and it sort of becomes this, do we have feelings for each other, and are these feelings strong enough to overcome the obstacles of having the same goal? Also, this is a question mark Own Voices book for me, so if you happen to know if it is Own Voices for sure, definitely leave a comment below. I do a lot of research to try to dig into whether these books fall into the Own Voices category. It's really important for me to be able to tell you when a book is Own Voices because I always feel like I can relate to it just a little bit more when it is. So there's going to be a few question mark Own Voices in here, and if you happen to know if they are for sure Own Voices, be sure to let me know in the comments down below so I can take the question marks right out of the description. Thanks so much! Okay, the 6th book on my list is called Lizzie, and it is by Dawn Ius. This book's anticipated release date is the 10th of April, and it is a lesbian Lizzie Borden retelling story. I really like one of the descriptions that I read of this book, which says, "But before she became known for 81 notorious whacks of the axe, She was just a 17-year-old girl who had never been kissed. In this retelling of Lizzie Borden, Lizzie works at her strict parents' bed and breakfast, and she has a condition that makes her black out. She begins to discover feelings for her maid Bridget, and her parents do not allow it, and that makes her condition get worse. So much so that she can't be held responsible for her actions. Or so we're told. This book is based on popular theories of the real Lizzie Borden, and it sounds fascinating. Book number 7 is called Leah on the Offbeat, and it is by Becky Albertalli. You probably recognize that name. That is probably because Albertalli also wrote Simon vs. the Homo sapiens Agenda. This new book, anticipated to be released on the 24th of April, and it follows Leah, Simon's best friend. Well, Leah hasn't told anybody but her mom that she is bi. And of course, Leah is falling for someone she never expected. Book number 8 is called Ship It, and it is by Britta London. This book is Own Voices, and it is expected to be released on the 1st of May. Okay, so this book has a couple of things that I think are awesome in it. First of all, it has queer themes. Second of all, it is set in the Comic-Con culture. So Claire meets Forrest, who is an actor in a super popular show called Demon Heart. She has the opportunity to ask him a question during one of his Q&As on his panel, and she mentions that she ships his character with another male character on the show, and his reaction is less than awesome. In fact, it's pretty homophobic. Because of this, a giant PR scandal begins to surround the show, and the show's producers decide that the only reasonable way to fix this is to hire Claire to come along with them and help mitigate for the rest of the publicity tour. Claire ends up spending a lot of time with a girl who is also on tour called Tess. Tess is a fan artist, and Claire starts to kind of form feelings for her. So Claire's focus shifts from being on tour to her own sexuality. Book number 9 is a book that I am looking forward to reading and also super not looking forward to reading, but I feel like it's going to be an important one. It is called Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake, and its anticipated release date is the 15th of May. So from the very little that I know about this book, I already know that I need to put a trigger warning out about it, because this book follows our protagonist, a bi girl named Mara. In this book, her twin brother, whom she is super close with, is accused of rape by her very close friend Hannah. So along with all of that and all of those emotions, she's also recently suffering from a breakup with her ex-girlfriend Charlie, and she's trying to figure out where Charlie and her kind of stand as well. Book number 10 is another book sort of like that, and it is called Anger is a Gift by Mark Oshiro, and it is anticipated to be released on the 22nd of May. In Anger is a Gift, we follow Moss, who prefers to be under the radar. A lot of the reason for his wanting to be under the radar is because his father was killed by the Oakland Police Department years earlier. Because of this, he has a panic disorder that makes being in crowds and having a lot of attention put on him and being around cops really difficult to handle. In our story, Moss meets Xavier, who helps him become a little more bold. And as his school starts to become kind of infiltrated by the Oakland Police Department, they start putting in metal detectors and doing mandatory random locker searches. Moss really feels activism kind of begin to come alive within himself. Things escalate quickly though, and soon become way overwhelming, and Moss doesn't quite know how to handle it. This book is Own Voices, and I think is going to be an important one. The next book on my list is called The Brightsiders by Jen Wild. It is Own Voices, and its anticipated release date is also the 22nd of May. First of all, can we just talk about how fabulous this bisexual cover is? So amazing. So amazing. I feel like it goes without saying, but our protagonist in this book is bi. She's a partier, and one night things get sort of out of hand, so her bandmates, Ryan and Alfie, decide to take matters into their own hands and forge an intervention. Their goal is to get her as far away from alcohol as possible. But along this journey, however this happens, I'm not quite sure, but she and Alfie hook up. A lot of questions, a lot of things have to be dealt with. Alcoholism, her troubles with her ex-girlfriend Jessie, this hookup with Alfie. I don't know. It sounds like a fun but dramatic read. Book number 12 is called Dear Rachel Maddow, and it is by Adrienne Kistner. This is another question mark Own Voices, and its anticipated release is the 5th of June. In this book, we follow Bryn, whose guiding light is Rachel Maddow. This really gets solidified when Bryn writes to Rachel Maddow for a school project and the host responds. Bryn then sort of begins writing letters to Rachel Maddow. She never sends the letters, but it's really starting to help her cope. I love Rachel Maddow, so obviously I have to read this book. The 13th book on my list is quite possibly the first, maybe tied for first, book I am most looking forward to reading next year, and it is called The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. Its anticipated release is the 2nd of October, and I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this book is Own Voices. This video is probably going up before my favorite books from 2017 video, just because I am so excited about this particular video and I really want to get it out there. But spoiler alert, A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue was one of my absolute favorite, if not my favorite, read of 2017. So when I found out there was going to be another book set in the same universe, and this time we were going to follow Monty's sister Felicity around, I got a little excited. So anyway, this book is narrated by Felicity, and essentially we follow her around as she travels, meets pirates, and forms her own science girl gang, which sounds awesome. And I don't know if there's going to be a ton of queer themes in this book, but I'm guessing so because Monty is probably going to at least pop up. And anyway, I am looking forward to this book release immensely. Alright you guys, well there you have it. Those are my 13 most anticipated LGBTQ plus books for 2018. A quick note about publishing dates. The publishing world is kind of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, and so because of that, release dates are anticipated release dates because things could get moved around or pushed or what have you. So none of them are set in stone, but as they become set in stone, I will try to update the description down below. And there's also going to be a link to a Goodreads shelf where I have linked all of these books, so you can just go and click that and check them all out in one place and add them to your to-read list. Thank you all so much for watching this video and supporting me and enjoying queer-themed young adult fiction as much as I do. I hope, if you're watching this video, that you do. Be sure to check out all of these books and watch for reviews coming to this channel as I read the books myself. Alright, I'll see you guys next week. Bye! Mwah!